Hi. Are we live? I think we are. You would think that I would have the hang of this by now, but also there's just always technical difficulties for some reason. But today it is the last Wednesday of July, and this month's theme, at least for me, was just getting it together. And in line with that theme this month, I have my first wedding of the season this Saturday. And so there's obviously a lot of preparation that's going into it. And so I've been working on that. The venue that we're working at is in Palos Verdes in California. It's pretty much like an all-inclusive venue, so it's not too difficult. But there's always things that come up on the week of the wedding, and also just dealing with guest cancellations and things like that. So there's always little things that come up, and I'm just trying to keep track for the client. In addition to that, I am working on a freelance event that's happening in 2 weeks in New York. So that's really going fast and furious. And so I'm spending a lot of hours just on projects, and also planning for September, October events, and also have to start gearing up for November and December events next month. So there's a lot happening. I'm very happy to be um, busy, especially because last year was much slower than it was this year. So I'm very happy about that. But there's so many ebbs and flows all the time. And I think just managing that is just always going to be on my mind. I did start a Substack and I'm not really sharing it yet, but maybe I will share it here. I started it just as more of like a creative outlet and just to get my thoughts out. I don't know if it's the algorithm, but I have been seeing a lot of millennials posting. I am a millennial. And so I feel like a lot of people are just going through the similar life things. And you're like probably wondering, is she going to talk about wedding planning today or not? And I am a little bit. And I honestly just kind of wanted to talk about working in wedding planning. I love it. I do love it. I love working with the client mostly. That's what I love about it, is just working one-on-one with the client, helping them like craft their vision and how to get there. Like that's my favorite part about it. And it's very different from working on like a corporate or brand event because and there's so many different kinds. And I could probably do an entire episode on the types of events that I've worked on. And there's so many that I haven't worked on still. But as a freelancer, I do cross paths with many different types of companies, big and small. And it's just interesting to see how people work. And so today I kind of wanted to just shoot the shit with you a little bit. And I was thinking of discussing some of the biggest pet peeves of maybe being a planner. And I have to say that even though these are also my pet peeves, I'm definitely guilty of some of these things. And I'm not doing this to complain. I'm just doing this in case anyone else relates to it, just from a work standpoint. And it's just life. And I thought it would be kind of fun. And I am in this space where I haven't been doing my daily stoic exercises as much. You probably know that I have this meditation, or it's like a book on stoicism practice or the stoic philosophy. And so I was going really strong like the first few months of the year until actually I went to my Asia trip. And then after I came back, or even while I was gone, because I did take pictures of it to do while I was away, but of course I didn't do it. But anyway, I'm trying to get back into it. And it's good actually, because it's been so crazy. And I feel like I've been hitting pedal to the metal and reading those daily passages. They're pretty short. It just helps kind of ground me again. And I just want to say, because everyone's going through it, it seems like midlife crisis isn't quite the right word. I think I saw someone post about a midlife awakening, and I really liked that because I think as you get older, as we get older, there are just things that become clear in terms of what's priority, what's important, what's not so important. And I like that about being in my 40s. I like that about just getting older and being a little bit unbothered by things that used to bother me so much before, and just kind of reframing the way things are going. So even if things aren't going the best, like literally anything can happen in a blink of an eye. So I really try to reground myself in the Stoic practice. I will link the book below if you're interested. But anyway, I digress. I biggest pet peeves. So being in the service industry is tough. And I think there's a couple of sides to it. So when it comes to wedding planning, I think it's dealing with the couple and then also dealing with vendors. And I think as I become more experienced or become a more seasoned wedding planner, I have definitely learned to lead my clients, like lead my couples. And I have come up with systems and templates. And weddings, even if they are unconventional and even if they veer off the standard kind of format, they're a little bit of they have a lot of the same elements. Like you might incorporate more immersive things or interactive experiences within the event. But in terms of like the ethos of the event, it's really almost always the same, right? Like it's celebrating love, celebrating family and friends. And that's the reason you're getting together. And that's what I love about it, as I've talked about before. So I think dealing with clients has gotten easier for me because I know what boundaries to set. I know what to tell them to expect. I try to explain it as much as possible, and they make the decisions based on that information. But I'm not a fortune teller. Like I don't know, or a mind reader. Like I can't predict what they're going to react to or respond with. And so before I used to really get not upset, but a little bit frustrated with sometimes their responses because I wanted to go a certain way. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. I will advise on what I think is best, and whatever decision they make, that's their decision. It's their day. And sometimes I do set my foot down. Like if I feel very strongly about something, I will set my foot down, especially when it just comes to logistics. If it's more of like a personal preference thing, all good. But the other side of it is, dealing with vendors. And dealing with vendors is interesting for sure. And I think everyone is just a lot of times, especially if you're working with solopreneurs and people or side hustlers, which is a lot of the wedding industry, it can get a little bit hard, difficult sometimes to have consistent communication. And I'm guilty of this too, especially when it's really busy. Of course, we have multiple clients to service and everything. But I think for me, like doing things with just as, with kindness and like trying to be as respectful as possible because we're all kind of in this together. Like that's the biggest thing for me. So I think when vendors have a certain type of attitude that just doesn't sit right with me, I will either recommend not using them or they'll just be removed from my list, essentially. And, you can catch the vibe like pretty early on. And, there have been times where I do work with people that I think I would love, and then it just doesn't end up panning out that way. But some of the things, and so that's one of the biggest things, is when people don't treat each other with respect. And I'm talking about like vendors, not just to me, but to other vendors too. Like I've had people on site, like just not be team players. And I don't love that feeling. But but I get it. Like, especially, like you're in and out of weddings. And if you're doing so many weddings a year, it gets really hard to like be invested in every single one, especially when you're just there every single weekend. And I totally get it. We're all tired. But yeah, so for me, I think I'm trying to work on more quality, or not quality, but I'm working toward like full planning clients so I can do less volume and just be present for my clients. In terms of physically planning, obviously the online planning kind of system that I'm working toward to that's for less full planning, and that's for people who want to do it themselves, but really, giving them a system they can work with. And so, uh, yeah, that's like, I just don't like it when people are disrespectful to each other or even to the client. Like that's also happened to me before. And it's just like, what is the reason for that? Like there's literally no reason for that. And so that's like a big, big thing for me. Second thing is lack of communication leading up to the wedding. And I'm not talking about like, um, just the week of, but like even leading up to it, if I send an email or give you a call, like please respond to me or tell me that you're busy, but you're going to get back to me kind of thing. And if there's lack of planning and communication on the vendor's end, a lot of times it's pretty straightforward, but more information, the better. And obviously the more in lockstep we are, the better. So, that gets a little bit challenging at times if I feel like I'm a little bit pushy too. I have to say. I'm trying to get better at just, I'm pretty assertive. I know what I need and when I need it. But I also feel like I'm pretty forgiving a lot of times. So, I do have a pretty high threshold for giving grace. But at a certain point, you just got to lay the hammer down. So I think lack of communication is really tough to deal with, even from the client side. Sometimes I feel like I've gotten really lucky with my clients. Like they've really been collaborators and great partners in the planning process. Most of them have really trusted me to do my work, and I try to keep my ears open to what they need. And even if, it means improving my systems, I'm always down for that. But sometimes there are some clients where I just really have to draw information out of them. And yes, that is my job. But, it is again, like I'm not a mind reader. And so I definitely, that part of it is very, very important to me. And I think that's definitely number two. The other thing is if they don't deliver on the day of the event, like what is going to be done to rectify the situation? That's always a hard one because, especially with design elements and creative elements, a lot of things are planned over hypotheticals or mood boards and inspiration boards. And I think with certain things like floral and all of those things are fine, but if it's like a fabricated piece or something that's being created, like there has to be a little bit more of a, what is the word, specific back and forth about what it's going to look like. And I believe it is really a part of my job to do that for sure. But it's frustrating when I feel like we've had so many conversations about it and then I show up and it's like nothing of what it was supposed to look like. And so that also goes like hand in hand with sometimes when vendors are understaffed on the front end, and then the execution really kind of fails and isn't up to par. I haven't encountered as much of it lately, but problem solving for it on site is tough, especially with weddings, because usually it's just like a day of load in and setup. Whereas like when I used to do much bigger events, it would be, we would load in and set up the day before or even 2 days before or whatever it is. So if there were issues, we kind of had time to rush course correct. But, don't, I guess, don't over, what's the word? Don't like overstate like what you can do and then not deliver. I'd rather people or overpromise. Like don't overpromise, and if you're going to underdeliver, if you're not going to deliver. And I think that goes hand in hand with communication or just being straightforward and just telling it like it is. Like you can't do it, that's fine. You can't do it in the time frame. Totally fine, but I would just like to know so that I can make the decisions. So that's another thing that gets tough to handle. But of course, as a planner, I try to explain all this to my clients as well. But it sucks when I feel like I'm in the middle and I'm trying to relay it as much as possible. And for these design calls, I do try to include the client as well, so that there's no like nothing gets lost in translation. So I think that's definitely a good way to remedy it, rather than me just kind of being in the middle of it and trying to explain things and all of that. So there's definitely ways to figure out and make sure that things are done as wanted. But it has definitely happened to me more than once, which isn't great, but all good. So yeah, I mean, I think right now the events that I'm working on, it's all going pretty well. I think, anytime I do work on other types of projects, I realize, I just love doing weddings, and I really hope that building the wedding planning business in the next few years is I'm really going to see a lot of growth. And right now, I just really want to show up for couples, here and then obviously in person. And I used to get really kind of um, upset about people not responding to me if I don't book a sale or something like that, or like ghosting me. But, there's just not enough time in the day to spend that kind of energy on those kind of things. And it's all good. Like everyone's busy, everyone has reached out and probably send a million emails a day. So if you don't have time to respond to me to tell me you're not going to go with me, then that's fine. Like I'm not going to be upset about it. But when I was starting out, I definitely was like, why aren't they responding to me? But again, like with experience, with age, with getting older, there are just things that don't matter as much anymore, personally. And so, yeah, I mean, today I just wanted to kind of like wrap up this month with that thought, just of my approach as well, and just maybe a little tough love letter to vendors and also to just people out there, like just doing their work. And I go through the same thing. Like I'm guilty of a lot of the things that sometimes, because we're all human and we can't be in 45 places at once, and we can't, we only have so many hours in the day. We only have so much bandwidth. And so I hope that, you are taking care of yourself first. I know that is very important to me, to take care of myself first in terms of health, my mental health and physical health, and just general battery life when it comes to needing social time and connection time with friends and family. And, that's really takes precedent over everything else. And so I thought this would be a good topic just to like wrap everything up for this month's theme of getting my shit together. And next month, is August, and I do have a really busy events month, so I may be skipping a couple of Wednesdays. But if you have anything that you want to know about, I'm also looking for, I'm also thinking about maybe looking for 5 to 10 people planning their wedding for next year, because I want to do like a little beta version of like a monthly or like a year-long wedding planning uh, not course, but I want to support these 10 couples or so in the next 12 months through the end of their wedding because I am trying to launch that product. So I'd love to get to know you. If that's something of interest to you, please leave comments if you're interested, and you can always send me an email as well. And I am so grateful that you're here always. My name is Jane Yu. This is Wedding Planning Wednesdays, and I hope you have a great rest of the week. See you next time.